From dropping to 120 pounds by eating just an apple a day, to gaining up to 240 pounds of fat to play a former US president, Christian Bale undoubtedly has some of the most insane body transformations in fitness and movie history. However, his weight fluctuations have at some points put his life in serious danger and led to online experts questioning whether or not he has completed these transformations naturally or with the use of banned substances. One rule which didn't require steroids though was his breakout performance as Patrick Bateman, which almost 25 years later is still a goal physique for millions of young Sigma males. My name's Craig and I make high quality YouTube fitness documentaries, and in today's video we're looking at the insane body transformations of Christian Bale, starting with his breakout role. It's the year 2000 and the relatively unknown Christian Bale is just about to star in the movie adaptation of American Psycho, playing the part of a self-absorbed sociopath living in New York, and it marked a turning point in the young actor's career. Since its release, American Psycho has turned into a cult classic, and it's down to Christian Bale's performance and character in the movie. He weighed around 190 pounds, mostly of lean muscle, showcasing a physique that was a visual representation of his character's obsession with physical appearance and societal status. Bale even had his English teeth cosmetically fixed to better fit the part of his squeaky clean exterior, but his character was hiding a much darker core. Because of Bale's performance and Patrick Bateman's character, it spawned a Sigma male following, with countless YouTube edits and Reddit threads with people wanting to build a body like Patrick Bateman. Experts on Reddit threads mentioned that Bale would have had to be severely dehydrated during these shoots in order to get his shredded physique, and they questioned whether or not it's even worth it to look that way. 4 years after Bale shot American Psycho, he would commit to the most insane transformation of his career when he shot The Machinist in 2004. Bale played Trevor Resnick, a machinist plagued by severe insomnia and psychological issues, and being a method actor, Bale got into the role by dropping down to a dangerously low weight and underwent a ridiculously strict diet. In order to look the part for the movie, he dropped down to a sickening 120 pounds, losing all of the muscle he'd gained for American Psycho, and like his on-screen character, ended up ruining his sleep cycle in the process.
Losing all the physical weight put all the energy into my brain, and so I only slept 2 hours a night.
Bale also told the BBC that he dropped 20 more pounds than what his nutritionist told him was a safe body weight. An apple, a can of tuna, and a cup of coffee a day with an occasional whiskey was the diet which allowed Bale to get into this shocking physical condition, and it was so shocking that it started an internet trend where people would try and mostly fail the Machinist diet. Bale knew what he was doing and the health risks associated, even saying that he wanted the character to look as though he was heading for the executioner when the movie was shot.
He looks very sick, he looks very pale, as though he's headed to, the executioners or something.
He admitted that he couldn't even walk up a flight of stairs due to the exhaustion and felt as though he was abandoning his body. After this insane commitment to the role, Christopher Nolan took notice of the actor's astounding ability and cast Christian for the role of Batman. But there was a problem. Filming for the movie was to take place just 6 months after the release of The Machinist, and Christian Bale still looked like this. It's fair to say it wasn't looking likely that Bale would be able to bulk up enough to the point where he looked like the caped crusader. Nolan himself was concerned with this, but tapping into his Sigma mindset gained from American Psycho, Bale did not back down and went to work. Nolan gave Bale strict instructions to get as big as possible to fill out the batsuit, and Bale did just that, embarking on the greatest dirty bulk in bodybuilding history. Bale was eating everything in sight, which caused his weight to double from 110 pounds to 220 pounds in a matter of months. The issue was clear though. Bale had gotten fat, and according to some reports, was being dubbed Fat Man on the Batman set. So, in the final months of preparation, he trimmed down to 190 pounds and was finally in shape to play the role. However, with massive weight fluctuations in such a short space of time, people started to wonder, is it achievable naturally, or do you need some help along the way? Well, Derek from More Plates More Dates provided a fantastic breakdown and shared his unrivaled knowledge on muscle building, and came to a surprising conclusion about whether or not Christian Bale achieved his transformation naturally or with steroids.
the myonuclei is still there. So this is why once you go back into a calorie surplus and get back in the gym, you can gain that size back very quickly because it never really disappeared to begin with. The cells are still present. Also, essentially the main reason why Christian Bale is able to gain back all that lost size in such a short time frame in what seems to be a completely unreasonable statistic of before and after weight, but it's actually not that unreasonable when you actually consider the science behind it. So to me, this is not indicative of steroid use.
After Derek told us his transformation was natural, he backed it up with the science, telling us that because Bale had dropped down to such an emaciated weight, his body was clamoring for survival. Due to the muscle memory and Bale's huge diet, it seemed as though he was gaining weight at an unnatural rate. Derek concluded that the bulk of the weight gained was water weight and fat, but it's still impressive nonetheless. Batman Begins was released in 2005, and just 1 year later, Bale took up a new rule, and as you've probably guessed by now, it required an enormous physical change to his body. So he was 220 pounds for Batman, and in his next film where he played a soldier in the Vietnam War, he dropped down to 135 pounds, just 15 pounds away from the weight he was for the Machinist. In the span of a few years, his weight had fluctuated more than 200 pounds, almost his entire body weight. Bale was actually portraying a real prisoner of war, Dieter Dengler, who looked like this when he was finally rescued. And as you can see by the comparison, Bale did a fantastic job of portraying the stark physical deterioration and grave condition of Dieter, delivering a hauntingly realistic depiction. Rescue Dawn as a movie didn't perform great, which is in stark contrast to the next movie, which was released to raving reviews, but unfortunately for Bale, meant a complete body transformation, as he was reprised his role as the Dark Knight. In 2008, Bale starred once again as Batman, but his physique was noticeably different to his previous movie in Batman Begins, looking a lot leaner and more like the millionaire playboy that he portrays in the movie. He weighed around 190 pounds in The Dark Knight, meaning that he'd had to put on 65 pounds since Rescue Dawn was filmed, which is reasonable in the time frame he was asked for. Not only did he have a great transformation for the movie, he genuinely seemed to enjoy filming it with his late co-star Heath Ledger, capturing this iconic photograph on the set. Bale didn't have too much time to enjoy this athletic physique, however, as just 2 years later he was once again morphing into the next character, who looks more like a person suffering with substance abuse issues. In 2010, Bale starred in The Fighter and achieved, yet again, a dramatic weight loss to play a recovering drug addict, Dickie Eklund, alongside Marky Mark, who looked a lot healthier alongside the emaciated Bale. He weighed just 145 pounds for this role, dropping more weight, but not as extreme as either The Machinist or Rescue Dawn. And just like in Rescue Dawn and Batman, he was playing a real person from history, with the real Dickie Eklund looking like this, to the right of his brother. For one final time, just 2 years after playing Dickie, Christian Bale returned to his Batman role, gaining 55 pounds and acquiring a lean physique for his last appearance as the Dark Knight. This was arguably the best movie of the trilogy, and it was one of the best shapes Bale had been in for years, looking just as athletic as he did while playing Patrick Bateman. At this point, he'd undergone hundreds of pounds of fat loss and muscle gain throughout his career. It's undeniable the stress of yo-yo dieting can have on your body, with the major danger being that your body can build up insulin resistance, which could lead into type 2 diabetes. After the release of Dark Knight Rises in 2012, after the years of stress Bale subjected his body to, he decided to do it again.
Know your limits, Master Wayne.
That man has no limits.
And in 2013, he picked up yet another role which required him to look like Mel Weinberg, a chubby American conman, and after putting on 44 pounds of fat for the role and acquiring a beer belly, Bale starred in the movie looking like this. He lost his muscle gain from playing Batman and ended up looking more like a businessman going through a midlife crisis, which is exactly what the part called for. Bale still had 2 more massive transformations in him, losing the 44 pounds of fat gained from American Hustle to play Moses in 2014's Exodus Gods and Kings, which was released a single year after showing off his pot belly in the previous film. Thankfully, his next role allowed him a break, giving him 4 years to prepare for playing Dick Cheney, which rendered Bale completely unrecognizable. He dyed his hair grey, including his eyebrows, and donned a heavy receding hairline, and he also gained 50 pounds of fat to play Cheney. Over the years, he's gained 299 pounds for roles and lost at least 300 pounds, bringing his total total weight lost and gained for movie roles to around 600 pounds, enough to be a star in the My 600 Pound Life series. In 2019, Bale released an interview claiming that he was done with the massive physical changes that he underwent in seemingly every single movie he's ever done. In the interview, Bale told fans he would not be attempting any more transformations, which is something he said before in 2013 before American Hustle, but this time he seems to mean it and has kept a healthy physique and lifestyle since his role as Dick Cheney. The now 48-year-old gave an interview with British GQ and even admitted to wanting to quit Hollywood and not being sure when he would next be starring in a movie. It's possible these massive efforts he gave in movies have exhausted him, but without knowing from the man himself, it's hard to say. He's provided the world with such iconic characters and has kickstarted thousands of young men's fitness journeys after they watched him on the screen and wanted to look like him. So maybe those efforts were worth it after all. And if you like this video and want to see more, click the video that's on your screen now, and I'll see you in the next one.
And so highly recommend you go and follow Big Craig, 31,000 followers.